Now, there's a theory going around among Republicans that Donald Trump is throwing this election on purpose. Or maybe not on purpose, but trying to lose regardless by essentially not listening to his advisors and going off against, for example, Gold Star families and veterans. Now, Morning Joe host Joe Scarborough is not the first to float this idea, but he's going to do this on the air. Watch.
That's a guy who knows he's going to lose.
Yeah.
That's a guy who knows. You start talking that way, and again, I don't know that he's ever wanted to win, but it's just it's sad. It's sad and pathetic what's going on out there. If you are a Republican and would actually like to control one branch of government after this election,
yeah, that would be great.
I don't know if he's ever wanted to win. Look, man, a lot of people are asking that question. A lot of Republicans, and look, I've heard that I've heard that said in a lot of Bernie Sanders supporter circles too. So, I guess the question is Donald Trump throwing this election on purpose to help Hillary Clinton, or is he just that big of a moron? Now, I know it sounds crazy to think about that first possibility. I mean, everybody's like, come on, man. Hillary plant? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd go that far. Well, I don't know. See, I actually think that's maybe what Joe might be alluding to. Here's a little bit more.
But you know, Caddy K, what's remarkable is that Donald Trump has, if he's actually fallen even below our expectations, there's a reason why. He's been on his absolute worst behavior over the past month, kicking around Gold Star mothers and talking about Second Amendment solutions to Supreme Court justice picks, and I could go on and on and on. It just doesn't stop. And again, this is a guy that's in self-destruct mode.
So he didn't come out and say exactly he's throwing this to help Hillary, but certainly he's made the implication that this guy's trying to destroy his own candidacy. For whatever reason, he's out there saying stupid, horrible things and trying to essentially, what it seems like, lose. Now, the argument is that if you're actually trying to win, you wouldn't go out and, say things like this. You wouldn't run your campaign like this. Now, either he's too stupid to run a winning campaign, which there's a lot of evidence for, or else he might be helping Hillary Clinton win. So first, let's talk about him being a moron. Now, remember, this is the man who ran a casino straight into the ground. He's the only person on earth, I swear, that loses money after owning a casino. And that's not the only one. In total, he's bankrupted about 6 different businesses, right? So he's not very savvy. He's not a very good businessman. If you're bankrupting 6 different businesses, you're kind of bad at business. I'm just saying. But of course, he used those bankruptcy laws to declare bankruptcy, get away scot-free, while investors are left holding the bag. And of course, the employees, think about the employees. They don't have jobs anymore. He's not a job creator. He destroyed jobs. So he's an awful businessman. When it comes down to it, if you look at Donald Trump's history, he has a history of failing upwards simply because of the millions of dollars that were left to him by his family, by his father. Essentially, he's proven over and over again that you can be a complete moron and still somehow be considered successful because of daddy's money. Now, remember the ghostwriter, Tony Schwartz, right? Wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. He literally wrote the book, right? He spent all that time with Donald Trump, and he came out and said, look, of Donald Trump, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have wrote that book. Why? Because I essentially put lipstick on a pig and made him into something that he's not. So who is Donald Trump according to Schwartz? Well, for that, we go to a piece written by Schwartz in 1985 called A Different Kind of Donald Trump Story. Now, the article that he wrote portrayed Trump as not a brilliant mogul, but as a ham-fisted thug. I love that. Ham-fisted thug who had unsuccessfully tried to evict rent-controlled and rent-stabilized tenants from a building that he had bought in Central Park South. Trump's efforts, which included a plan to house homeless people in the building in order to harass the tenants, became what Schwartz described as a fugue of failure, a farce of fumbling and bumbling. That's pretty far from successful businessman, touted later in the book, The Art of the Deal. Now that's why he also told the New Yorker that, quote, I feel a deep sense of remorse that I contributed to presenting Trump in a way that brought him wider attention and made him more appealing than he is. Now, once again, this is coming from somebody who spent 18 months with Donald Trump writing his book for him. I remember him writing a portion in that New Yorker article where he kept pointing out how Trump had such a limited attention span. And he wondered, how could this guy ever sit through a briefing without getting bored and, not getting unfocused and just not paying attention? Because he had almost no attention span at all. And once again, I go back to the statement of ham-fisted thug. That sounds about right. So look, is he an idiot? Yeah, I kind of think so. But to be fair, let's examine the other side. Is he also a Hillary plant? There's a little bit of evidence for that too, although it's kind of loose. Now, let's look at one piece of evidence is his previous endorsement of Hillary Clinton back in 2008. Now, in a blog post unearthed by BuzzFeed, Donald Trump wrote, quote, Hillary Clinton said she considered naming Barack Obama as her vice president when she gets the nomination, but she's nowhere near a shoo-in. For his part, Obama said he's just focused on winning the nomination, although at least one member of his team said Clinton would make a good vice president. Now, here's the important part. In parentheses, he puts, I know Hillary, and I think she'd make a great president or vice president. Look, as far as political analysis, that's actually kind of smart. But he goes on. Hillary is smart, tough, and a very nice person. So is her husband. Bill Clinton was a great president. They are fine people. Hillary was roughed up by the media, and it was a tough campaign for her. But she's a great trooper. Her history is far from being over. Prophetic words from 2008 Donald Trump. Fast forward to today, well, we all know. So look, that's interesting. That seems like pretty warm words for Hillary Clinton from Donald Trump. But maybe he changed his mind, and there's some evidence for that. Now, Tony Schwartz said that in his time with Donald Trump, he described his ability to turn on people in an instant. He writes, Donald Trump pisses ice water. He'd like people when they were helpful and turn on them when they weren't. It wasn't personal. He was a transactional man. It was all about what you could do for him. And as we know, Hillary loves doing favors for fellow rich people. And guess what? She was senator from New York. He had his business and lived in New York. Maybe they had some transactions. Maybe he helped out, or maybe she helped out on a couple of deals. Once again, Hillary is, look, one of the reasons that we criticize Hillary so much is because she is very favorable and helpful to other rich people. So, could they have made some deals? Could they have gotten to know each other? Okay, they could have. And then later on, when they decide to run against each other, he takes it personally. Fair enough. And here we have what we have. Crooked Hillary, etc., right? So, now, the other piece of evidence that a lot of people point to is Bill Clinton calling Trump before Trump decided to run. Now, a lot of people think, well, of course, Bill Clinton was calling Donald Trump to get him to run as controlled opposition, right? Opposition. Now, the thinking is that Hillary Clinton would have a tough time in an election, so let's get someone in there who's going to say and do terrible things that she can run against that she couldn't possibly lose against. Someone who continues to dick punch himself throughout the entire campaign and make it so that people are so disgusted that they'll turn to Hillary Clinton in droves. That is the theory, right? Now, I'm not saying that I believe that, but I am saying that that's not out of the realm of impossibility. It is certainly possible. And so you kind of have to keep a little bit of an open mind on some of these things because the Clintons they're calculated. So is every politician. And Trump, he's kind of an idiot. So basically what I'm saying here is that it is certainly possible that Trump is both an idiot, there's no doubt about that, let's be honest, with no attention span, and also being controlled opposition. That is possible as well. And look, here's the scenario. Perhaps the Clintons asked him to run, said, hey, it'd be a fantastic deal. You get all sorts of name recognition, and it would help your business. And Donald Trump, being the ham-fisted thug idiot that he is, thinks, ha, you know what, that'd be a great idea. Yeah, it's going to be tremendous. Trust me, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be winning big league. Believe me. And so he runs. The Clintons get what they want. A candidate that has almost no chance of winning. And then Donald Trump, well, gets what he wants the most. Attention. That article that I referenced earlier by Tony Schwartz, a different kind of Donald Trump story, that was incredibly critical of Donald Trump. I have to note that in a New Yorker article where this was posted, it is mentioned that in the paragraph following, that Donald Trump saw that article, and that's what got him to want to hire Tony Schwartz to do the art of the deal. He saw that and was like, yes, I love it. Let's bring this guy in. Let's have him write a book about me. So anything is possible. And see, the problem is that, he could have been encouraged to run by playing on his massive ego, as I said. Or maybe, on the other hand, that massive ego encouraged him to run. The problem is that this election has been so confusing, so confounding, so out of the ordinary that people like me, I can't even I don't even know anymore. And I think that's what bothers me the most. Hey everybody, if you like this video, then please like this video and share. And if you want to see more like this, then please hit that subscribe button below.